All right, good morning, e-learners.
Can we do the worksheet?
The worksheet, can we do the worksheet? You will do the worksheet, but no, I'm not going to hand you the worksheet as the first thing. All right, let's take a look at the calendar, quite please. Let's take a look at the calendar, and your mouth should be closed. Waiting on you. Thank you. All right, so looks like we got a free week next week, meaning like there's no quizzes or tests. I've debated back and forth with this chapter. It's kind of short, so that's why I kind of leaned on, let's not do a quiz. But we will obviously have a chapter test, so after we get back from Labor Day. It is worksheet day. I don't do lots of worksheets, but, you know, I do, and then all the kids, can we do a worksheet every day? No, we're not doing a worksheet. You guys are too lazy. You don't want to write the problems down. They're not easier. They're harder. Okay. PEMDAS. What's the one letter we haven't done so far? E. We haven't done E, so today is the class on exponents. Now, you guys from last year have already seen exponents. Jace, I don't know about you, but these kids have already seen exponents. Generally in 8th grade, I see errors for exponents, and there's one common error. We'll talk about this a bunch of times. All right, I'll let you say it. So we're going to go back to GEMDAS. The one letter we haven't done is the E for exponents. More formally, this is called order of operation. It tells you the order that the math should be done. So the E is what we'll talk about today. The E comes after parentheses. All right, exponents. Write this down, please. Box one. Box one. Where's your sheet of paper? Where's your sheet of paper? All right, write this down. The definition of exponents is this. It's a method to show repeated multiplication. Think about this. Kindergarten, first, second grade, you learn what in math? You learn addition. Then somewhere around the 3rd grade, you learn multiplication. Multiplication is repeated addition. And then somewhere middle school, you learn exponents. Exponents is that next step up. It's repeated multiplication. So just as multiplication makes your life easier, rather than to add the number 21 17 times, right? That would take you a long time. We learn how to multiply, speed things up. So how do you do repeated multiplication? You do this thing called exponents. All right, write down this one example. Let's see my students if they remember. Exponents. Looks like this. You get a big number, and I don't mean value-wise, I mean literally physically large number and a small number. The small number is on the right side above, slightly above the larger number. We have names, mathematical names for both of those numbers. The big number is called the? Jace, do you know? It rhymes with Jace. It's called the?
Base number.
Write that down, please. This doesn't work if I don't have a kid named Jace in class, but this is the first year I could say that. All right, the larger number is called the base. The base is the number that you will be repeatedly multiplying. I'm going to multiply 2 multiple times. 2 times 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 2. How many times am I going to multiply 2? That number of times. That number is called the, somebody, is called the exponent or the
No. Where is the opposite?
is called the power.
Right.
All right. It can be called the exponent. It can be called the power. When we read this, we say 2 to the 3rd power, right? We don't say 2 to the 3 exponent. But it is called the exponent. Altogether, the base and the exponent, that's what's called an exponential operation. All right, Jackson said he's going to tell me the number one mistake that students make. What's the number one mistake that students make?
It's not 2 times 3.
It is not 2 times 3. It is not 2 times 3. It is not 2 times 3. It is 2 written
3 times.
3 times. Yes, this one smart kid will say, well, yeah, but 2 squared is 2 times 2. All right, there's your one example that proves that not entirely true. But 99.9% of the times, it is not the base times the exponent. 1 to the first power is 1 times 1. Technically, it's not even that. It's 1 written 1 time. But yes, it is the base written that many times. So the answer is 222. Yes?
No.
No. What do I got to do?
2 times 2 times 2.
I got to put multiplication symbols between. So 2 to the third power is actually 8. It is not 2 times 3. It is not 2 times 3. Okay, why did I say that so many times? Not one kid. Almost all of you at some point will make that mistake. Genevieve, what were you going to say?
Oh, I thought it was like 2 times 2 to the 4, 2 times 4 equals 6.
Well, that would be 2 to the fourth power. Sure, 2 to the fourth power is 16. But 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 2 is 8. Okay? All right. Guess what my caution is going to be? It's not.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. No, Will Robinson.
Will Robinson, and it's not 2 times 3. All right, enough of that. All right, so, Priscilla, what does this say? Okay, before that, what is it? Just read this. What does it say? Perfect. She said 13 to the third power. And then how would I write that in expanded form? The base written 3 times. So the base written 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Oops. Okay. And no, we're not going to calculate it right now, but it's a big number. Right? What is anything to the first power? Itself. So guess how many times you're going to write something to the first power? Guess how many times you're ever actually going to write this? Never. Why? Because it's just 13. Technically, you are, right now, some of you, 12 to the first power years old. Sounds too complicated. I'm 12. Right?
Wait, you are 12?
I said some of you, and we do have a 6th grader in here. All right. All right. Some of you are 13 to the first power. How about that?
No.
All right. Okay. If you have a set of parentheses, here's your first one you got to be careful about. Is this 3 on the inside or the outside of the parentheses? So therefore, what's the base? It's not 13. It's the parentheses that I need to write 3 times. But what's on the inside of the parentheses? So therefore, I'm going to write parentheses 13 3 times. You see what I did? You're like, well, what difference would that make? It wouldn't make any difference unless what's on the inside is negative. If what's on the inside is negative, it makes a big difference. Okay, and we'll see that later. I haven't even talked about negative numbers, but it will make a difference later when the inside is negative. Okay, we call exponential form, we call this expanded form. Okay, this is called exponential form. This is called expanded form. Tonight for homework, they're going to ask you to write something in expanded form. This is what they mean. They're like, well, when do I write the answer? That's called simplified form. If I actually multiply 13 times 13 times 13, then you simplified the exponents. But if it simply says write in expanded form, this is what they're asking. Who's lost? Okay, pretty simple. Please be honest. Anybody, you've never seen this before? You saw it last year. Okay. All right, if it asks you to simplify, what is it asking you to do?
The answer.
They're asking for the answer. However, the steps to find the answer includes the expanded form. What I mean by that is, in order to find the answer, well, I first need to expand it. That is the base written how many times?
Twice.
So I write 3 twice, I expand it, all right? The base written 2 times. I do the math,
No.
I write 9. That is called simplifying. Now, all right, let's talk about how you're really going to do this. You should have your second powers memorized. Some of you will have some of your third powers memorized this year. None of you are going to have your seventh powers memorized, right? I'm going to need a calculator for seventh powers, right? Maybe not 10 to the seventh power, that's an easy one. But 12 to the seventh power, I don't know. I need a calculator for that. Try to memorize your squares, right? I'll use that. Anything to the second power is called squared. Anything to the third power is called cube. We'll talk about that later as well. Yeah.
Are we ever going to see a 0 as a power?
This year we will have 0 powers.
Yeah.
All right. So box number 2, it says expand and simplify. So this is 3 written how many times?
3 times.
It is not.
3 times 3.
It is not 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. We will see when we expand it, the actual answer is 27. Now you tell me. Can you do that one in your head?
Yes.
Okay, be careful. Some of you might need to expand it. Others of you, absolutely. Prudence could probably do 3 to the 4th in her head, right? Others of you will need it. Prudence, 3 to the 4th? Oh, I'm putting her on the spot. You do you think you know it? What?
54.
No. What?
51.
No. What?
81.
81.
Oh, it's 1 times
Okay. 54 to the first power is
54.
54, right? Parentheses, 2 to the 5th power. Well,
33.
the only time I ever now count on my hands are 2 to the power. So here's how you count with your hands, 2 to the power. The first 2 is, well, there's 2 to the first power. 2 to the first power is 2. Times 2 is 4. There's 2 squared. Times 2 to the third power is 8, 16, 32. So 2 to the 5th power is, and remember I said parentheses, although important, technically are only important when there's negatives involved. In this case, since they're all positive, right? Yes.
I have the worksheet.
No.
But I've been through everything.
Good for you. Now pay attention. All right. Box number 3, do these all by yourself. Go. All by yourself. It is not 2 times 3. It is not 10 times 2. It is not 4 times 3. You will make this mistake. No pencil slams. All right. First one is
8.
8. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. We already did that one, by the way. Second one is
100.
all right. Who knows the trick for 10 to a power? What's the trick, Callie? You write a 1, and guess how many zeros you're going to put?
2.
That's the trick. It only works with 10. If it's 9 to a power, this trick doesn't work.
What if it's 64?
Well, there is another trick for anything that has 1 and a bunch of zeros, but we don't memorize those. We just memorize the 10 to a power. 10 to a power means 1 followed by that many zeros. Okay? 4 to the third is 12, right?
No. 64.
Yeah.
Why isn't it 12?
Because you.
Because it's not 4 times 3. It's parentheses 4 written 3 times. Therefore, it is. You're not giving me confidence now. What's the answer? Thank you. What's 4 times 4?
8.
There's your problem. All right, we okay? All right. So the switch would be if I give you, well, before I gave you what? I gave you what?
that and you make
This is called exponential form. You expanded it, you gave me the answer. The change would be if I gave you expanded form and asked you to write
that.
exponential form. I didn't say it was difficult, but it's a change, right? So now I'm going to give you expanded form, and you're going to write this in exponential form. Now this will get tricky, even though you think it won't be. It will get tricky. Watch me. Exponents is defined as repeated
Addition.
multiplication.
Oh, I
Okay.
know.
So, do I have repeated multiplication? 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 is not repeated multiplication, right? Meaning that the number isn't being repeatedly multiplied. In this case, what number is being repeatedly multiplied?
4.
That is your base. Your base is the thing that's being repeatedly multiplied. In this case, 4. So to write expanded form into an exponential form, you find the base. The base is the number that's being repeatedly multiplied. I don't mean 1 times 2 times 3 times 4. That's repeated multiplication, but it's not the same number being repeatedly multiplied. So 4 is your base. That's your big number. Your smaller number that goes to the right and above is how many of those 4s you have. Monkey method. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Please do not make that mistake. Okay, 4 to the 5th. 4 to the 5th, yes.
Sorry. Never mind.
Okay. All right, that's called exponential form. Let's do another one. Okay, your question. What number is being repeatedly multiplied?
5.
That's your base.
5 to 10 power.
How did you know that was going to be my question? It was. All right. So you simply, how many 5s? 1, 2, 3, and that's your exponent. Okay, I don't want to mean light of something that you could make a mistake on. You could count wrong, but the process is literally that simple. Amanda, what's being repeatedly multiplied here? Parentheses 13. That's your base. So I write parentheses 13. How many parentheses 13 do I have, Amanda? There's your power. Got it?
Yes.
All right. You have 15 seconds. Go. Box scores.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
You're like, when is it going to get challenging? All right, we'll see. Hannah, first one. What's the answer? 5 to the 4th power. Landon, small a. Second one. 2 to the 2nd power. 2 squared. Breckton, last one. 6 to the 6th power. We got this?
Yeah.
All right. Let's do more. Bring it. All right. So how can I make this more challenging? Because that clearly that wasn't that challenging. Right? Here's how it becomes more challenging. See that?
Yeah.
All right. Now we haven't talked about negative numbers, so we're going to say this is, well, it's a -2. Subtract 2 times 8 times 8. Okay. You can say -2. It's fine. All right. Is there something up there right now that's being repeatedly multiplied? The A's. There's only one -2. -2 is not being repeatedly multiplied, but I got 3 A's. So, same process with variables. The base is going to be A, and how many A's do I have?
3.
And then tack on a -2. So -2 has no friends to be exponents with, but the A does.
Oh, what?
Oh, okay. Then. What if you have 2 numbers?
Oh, it can get more challenging, can it? Like that one.
Yeah. What the?
Do you agree that everyth's being multiplied?
Yes,
Yeah.
but it's
What's being repeatedly multiplied?
A.
And
B.
how many A's you got?
3.
How many B's you got?
2.
So guess what I'm going to write?
B times A.
Yeah.
No, no.
Well, give me a base.
2
A.
And how many A's?
3.
Give me the other base.
B times
How many? Not times 2.
2.
To the 2nd power. So A is to the 3rd power and B is to the 2nd. Notice there's no space between. It still means there's multiplication. If there's 3, then we'd have a C to the 5th power. You won't see that until next year, but who's lost? You tell me, challenging or not challenging?
Kind of challenging.
All right, so we better do some more. All right, Just as soon as you think you got this and it ain't that bad, I'm going to throw you a curveball, right? Does that metaphor make sense, throwing you a curveball? Right? Okay, here we go. So, what's being repeatedly multiplied? Okay, and
Two.
how many 2's do I have?
Two.
How many x's do I have?
Three.
So, what do you want me to write?
3 to the x to the third power.
And
2 to the second power.
here's the basic. It's not a rule. It's a formatting thing. We're always going to write numbers first, variables second. So which one am I going to write first? The 2 or the x? 2 to the what power? And x to the... And you're like, well, I got this. Now, you ready for the curveball? Guess what I'm going to make you do?
Oh no, solve it.
You can't do variables. X to the third is just plain old x to the third. But what is 2 squared?
4.
So actually, I'm going to say the answer is 4x to the third. If you can easily, there is no good definition for this. If you can easily, don't leave numbers to powers. What is 2 to the 54th power? A really big number. That's not easily done. But 2 to the second power is easily done. This is a really bad, it's not a rule. It's a formatting thing. In math, when we change from expanded to exponent form, we generally don't leave numbers in exponential form if it's easy. 13 to the 5th power is too hard. But 13 to the second power is 169, right? 13 times 13. So I'm not saying that people will make mistakes here. I'm just saying that people sometimes or students have a hard time wrapping their heads around, wait, do you want me to change it to 4 or do you want me to leave it as 2 squared? And the answer is, can you do it easily? Right? Pretty much anytime something's squared, we're going to write it as in its simplified form. But if it's 4,956 squared, let's just leave that sucker squared. Right? All right, see if you can do box 5.
Oh, that's hard.
See if you can do box 5. See if you can do box 5. All right, Aiden, first one, what do you got? There's only one 2. So 2 has no friends, it stays 2. What else you got up there? So I write R to the and that's your answer. Now, why did I put G in front of R?
There's more G's.
Okay, you got an idea, Callie? All right. Once again, this is a formatting thing. I will not mark it wrong if you were like Aiden, you said 2R squared times G to the third, or G cubed. The formatting is this. Numbers come before variables, and variables are written in decreasing order. Right? If all the powers are the same, then you write them in alphabetical order. Okay. Would it be wrong if you wrote 2R squared G to the third? No. But you're not going to see when you flip into the answers in the back of the book, or I call them out. I'm going to call them out. Number first, the highest power to the lowest power, and if the powers are the same, then I'm going to call them out alphabetical. Make sense? Okay. Caden, good job. David's not here today.
Okay.
Angelina, that one right there.
36 to 36x to
36x to the second power. Okay, technically, if I say write in exponential form, 6 squared is an exponential form. So it's not a rule, it's a formatting thing. We're like, well, 6 squared is 36. It's just easier to write. But no, it's not. 6 and a little 2 is easier to write than 3, big 3 and a big 6. All right, yeah, we can get into arguments about that. Ooh, we're halfway there. Let's see what else is left. More new things today. More new things. All right. So I said I started off with GEMDAS, right? And that's where we kind of end up. So now you're going to be doing, or you're going to be simplifying numerical expressions that also involve powers. Okay? So We got the full GEMDAS, right? The first thing we do are grouping symbols. Any grouping symbols there?
Yes.
Okay, what do we got?
3 plus.
We got parentheses. We got to do those first. So 3 plus 2 is?
Inside
3 plus 2 is?
5.
Okay, so doing that, we get 5. Now, there is a second big mistake that students make with exponents. The first one is they do 5 times 2. Bad, 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 bad. Guess what the second one is? And it's right in front of you. Guess what the second one is? Callie?
Either they do it first or they do it last.
For some, what are you going to say, Genevieve?
They multiply 5 times 4.
For some students, they lose their brains. They want to go right from E to multiplication, right? They see this 4 and this 5, and they're like, "Whoa, I know what 4 times 5 is." And they say 20, and then 20 squared is 400, right? No, you have to do the exponents first. Is this 2 apply to the 5, or does it apply to the 4?
5.
Just the 5. 5 squared is,
25.
okay, 5 squared is 25. So this is really not 20, right? Because you had to do exponents first. So don't make that mistake. So it's 4 times 25, which is 100. Okay? 2 big mistakes. You don't do 5 times 2, and you don't do 4 times 5. Those are the 2 most common mistakes. Don't make them. All right, one more. What comes first? Powers, parentheses, multiplication, or subtraction? What comes first? Powers, parentheses, multiplication, subtraction. Parentheses. 3 times 2 is?
6.
Okay. What comes first? Subtraction or powers?
Power.
Don't do 49 minus 6 and write 43 squared, right? This is 6 squared, which is? It's not 6 times 2.
36.
6. 49 minus 36 is?
30.
Who can do that in their head?
Is it 5?
It is, yes, the answer is 5.
One.
Gabby, help me. What?
You want me to like subtract?
I do.
Oh, it's 13.
Thank you.
What?
I have no idea why you said 5. Where would a 5 come from? Tell me in your brain.
Oh, no.
What do you think? See, I could see somebody say 7, maybe. Maybe they're thinking 9 minus 6, something like that. That's a 7. I could see if you said, 9 minus 6 is a 3. You said the answer was 3 or 23, but the 5 is throwing me for a loop. I don't know where you're getting that.
13.
9 plus 5 is 14, not a 6. 6 minus 5 is 1, not a 9. I'm not finding. I don't know. All right, do box 6 all by yourself. Ooh, tricky one. Second one is tricky. Yeah.
So after you do like the parentheses, they're like.
We're going to follow agenda straight. Parentheses first, then exponents.
Would the parentheses go down with the numbers you have to face?
Well, just remember, as soon as you do the subtraction, right,
That's gone.
the parentheses are gone. But the square doesn't go away, so you square it. Anybody need help? Math help, not the other kind. Me too.
Wait, I need help. Like number 2 is like really hard.
Yes.
I'm the answer for the
You did the second one?
Are you tired?
Abby, you already done? All right. Do you see the first one?
Oh, 9.
Tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. First step, what do we do?
I did 6 minus 2.
6 minus 2 is 4. Now what?
And then
4 to the second power is 8, yes? 4 to the second power is 8, yes? Because 4 times
No.
2 is 8.
no, it's 16.
It is 16. Therefore, the final answer is 25. Thank you. All right, Abby, you got the second one? You're going to say yes or no. All right, let's walk it through, Abby. Do you see any parentheses? Okay. Is there anything going on inside the parentheses? No. So yes, there are parentheses, but there's no math to do. So we're done with G. Now we go to E. Are there any exponents? All right. So what do? And I did not say if you have multiple exponents, what order you need to do them in. So since I didn't say you must go left to right, it's up to you. I just always go left to right. So 5 to the second power is 10, yes?
Yeah.
5 to the second power is 10, yes?
No.
Yes.
Left, I gotta hear her. 5 to the second power is 10, yes? Because 5 times 2 is 10, yes?
Oh, no.
No, it's 25. 3 to the second power is 6, right? Because 3 times 2 is 6, yes? No, it's not. Very good. So I'm going to write that. Notice all I did was get rid of the exponents. I still have this dot for multiplication, and I still have this parentheses. Okay? What do you do first, Abby? Addition or multiplication? And you must do multiplication from 2 times 25, or double 25s. And 4 times 9. Okay, and then you tell me what part of what we just went through is the challenging part. Okay, so the 2 exponents. And yes, I was absolutely, for both people, I was trying to trick them, right? Please don't make that mistake. And it's a fine line when I think about teaching this of, do I want to actually verbalize that mistake? Maybe the person's only listening a little bit. They're like, I don't know, he said we're supposed to multiply the big number times the small number. Because I did it wrong, right? But clearly, at least for the people that I called on, they shouldn't make that mistake because I made them make that mistake. All right, final answer 86. We good? All right. I said we weren't going to see that symbol in there. I put one in. We will see that symbol when we do something called scientific notation. That's the only other time that we'll see the multiplication symbol as an X. But I'm trying to, I don't think that we're going to see that symbol again.
We might.
Well, I know we're going to see it for scientific notation, but I'm trying to think if there's any other time that I use it. I can't think of one. All right, Olivia, you look like you've already had this done. Yes? Okay, the answer was no there. Yes, Genevieve. Oh, no, I was just making sure.
Good job, bro.
Amber, you got the first one done yet?
Yeah.
All right, walk me through the first one. Go. Three to the power 2 is 9. 3 times 3 is 9. It's 25. Therefore, the answer is very good. You got the last one now? All right, walk us through it. 5 times 3. And remember, multiplication is commutative, so she did 5 times 3, even though it says 3 times 5 is, okay, and 15 to the second power is a big number. How much? 30? Yeah, because 15 times 2 is 30, right?
For sure.
Yeah, yeah, that's a mistake. 15 times 50. I said I would like you to have your things to the second power multiplied all the way through, let's say, 16. All right? You got it? What's the answer? Hey, it's got to end in a what?
5.
When you multiply by 5s, things either end in a 0 or 5, right? So what's the answer? 225. 225. All right, last thing. Last thing. Here we go. All we're going to do is evaluate. So the same thing you just had on your test that you guys did well on. Same thing, except that we're going to toss in exponents to the process. For me, I always go from left to right and plug in the numbers. Right? For those of you that made the mistakes on the test where you plugged in the wrong number, just be careful and realize you can make that mistake. So let's see, a 2 is a 2. The x becomes a 2. So it's 2 times 2 to the third power plus 4 times 3. Who's lost in what I just did? Evaluating variable expressions where you got some exponents. All right, a lot of stuff going on here. What do I got to do first? What? Grayson said exponents. Yes or no?
Yes.
Technically, there are parentheses. Why did I put a parentheses here, by the way?
To show
Otherwise, it would look like
22.
22 to the third power. It's not. It's 2 times whatever x is. Well, x was 2. So the reason why I needed parentheses is otherwise it looked like 22. All right, so Grayson said exponents 2 to the third power is 2 times 2 times 2. 8, okay. Now what do we do? Addition, right? 8 plus 4 is 12. Grayson? 8 plus 4 is 12. Oh, we got to do multiplication first. 2 times 8 is 4 times 3. Therefore, the answer is 28. Very good. Stop me if I'm going too fast, Jaden. Turn around. Thank you. All right, box 8. Do it by yourself, please. No, the box 9 or is that it? I got a box 9. You didn't do it. Is it too hard?
No, I got it. I can do this. I don't have my pencil out.
Get your pencil out, lazy.
See it today.
Burden says it's too cold. Yeah.
It's
I'm with
chilly.
you.
We went outside for PE. I came in, it was like
All right. If you did the math, there's the math. 63 and 35 is the answer.
All right.
All right.
What? Where is that? 63.
3 squared is 9. 3 times 3 is 9.
Oh, yep.
3 to the third is 27. 4 times 9 is 36. 36.
Okay.
All right. You can blame Jackson for your homework because he just reminded me I didn't hit up worksheets.
No, it's not his fault. That's your
Grab the
fault.
worksheet on your way out.
Why you got
You did forget to hand them out. I got mine already.
Keep that with your.
I already got one.
Okay.
Never come on my binder.
This is the only class I'm good at. I don't even know why. Yeah, that's why it's so difficult. I don't want to go to like, that's hard. Dude, this is the only class I actually do. I want to do you're like, yeah, that's I knocked over a lot.
Teacher sounds to the next class.
Let's go. Stop talking.
God bless me.
Somebody forgot the water bottle. She sits there. Let's Anna. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, let me down. Give me that left foot in your head there. I was hoping you were going to yell the answer. Come on. All right, sorry for letting you hang there, e-learners. If you have any questions, send me an email. And if not, I'll see you next class period.